Hello everyone, this is Sam at the Linux Saying, here to help you escape and stop getting robbed from big tech. The market at the moment is absolutely finished. We're talking about RAM prices through the roof, SSD prices through the roof, storage, graphics, or whatever, even processors. They're going absolutely bananas in the market for various reasons beyond the scope of this video. We won't get into those reasons, but because of those reasons, most people these days can't even pick up a basic laptop for a decent price anymore, and they can't build their own components anymore. Gone are the days where building a PC is cheap. It's no longer cheaper than the alternative. It's no longer cost effective because of these prices, right? And unfortunately, people in this current economy, they don't have the money to pay for bills. They don't have the money for necessities. They're struggling as it is. And in this day and age, you need a laptop, you need a PC, you need something to get you in this world, to get you functioning in society. Unfortunately, as much as I don't like that, I like to keep a bit of a separation, but the lines are more and more blurred as time goes on. As a result, what you're doing if you're a young teenager and you have a little budget, but you can't even pick up an affordable laptop that's reliable, that's functional, because things, for example, Surface laptops like these, M1 MacBooks like this, for example, upon release were literally £1,000 a pop. Yes, they're a bit cheaper now. However, these laptops, it's an X1 Carbon from 2016. It's a Dell Latitude 7420 from 2021. They were also about £1,000 upon release. But guess what? I got this for less than 40 quid with a damaged screen. But we'll get into that. Right? This whole laptop, this all cost less than 100 quid. And I've got it running Linux Mint. And it's more stable, more reliable, more resilient, from my experience, than this, which came out last year, by the way, right? Because of Windows 11, it's borderline unusable at times. Mac OS, not as bad, right? And then on the other side, we've got 150, I think it cost, a 7420 from 2021. It has 16 gigs of RAM. It was an i7. I can't remember the actual mobile processing unit, but it also has Thunderbolt 3, which we will get into shortly, right? So the aim of this video, we're not going to really focus on these two as much. We can get rid of these two. Let's throw these out, because we will be breaking down how you can get quite cheap entry-level prices, right, for decent tech. And then the key is being willing to put some work and being willing to learn and getting Linux set up on these. I have Linux Mint Cinnamon on this one. It's absolutely rock solid. Immense stability from this. And this is CashieOS, which is a flavor of Arch Linux, right? So even these two are two different price entries, two price brackets, and two different markets, right? We will get into both of these, but yeah, stop getting scammed and robbed by big tech guys. I'm telling you, right? You don't have to spend thousands and thousands on insanely overpriced hardware and components. Forget doing all that. If you've got a budget, I will help you guys navigate this market. Alright guys, starting off with our super cheap, less than 40 quid ThinkPad X1 Carbon, and I'll upload a image to prove to you that it was that cheap. So essentially this came with a broken display, right? And this is why I always recommend ThinkPads, because They're enterprise level grade hardware, and they're very, very easy replaceable, and you can get parts from them for quite cheap. So I got a replacement LED from eBay for about 20 quid. It's a 1080p screen. Literally popped open the panels, replaced the screen, popped the ribbon cable in, and the laptop was up and running, functional. It was missing a hard drive, but I managed to get a NVMe hard drive out from an old laptop which I had lying around, about 200 gig. Threw it in and flashed a copy of Linux Mint. And the only extra purchase was this. So anyone knows about ThinkPads? You have the old school square connector. It's a cheap adapter off Amazon for 10 quid. Basically allows you to use USB-C, and it just goes in like that there, right? So for very, very cheap, I got myself a very, very decent laptop. Backlit screen there, touchpad, trackpad working, as you can see, plugged in via HDMI to my 24-inch display there, and obviously, as you can see, works through Windows swapping over, works quite well. It's running an i5 6200U at 2.8 gigahertz, a Skylake GT2 integrated graphics, and 8 gigs of RAM. Nothing crazy, right? Nothing insane, but for day-to-day stuff, you can use Firefox, you can browse the web. I mean, it's decently snappy, right? For example, from YouTube. Yeah, whatever, get out the way. Yeah, I mean, don't want to hit me no copyright issues or anything.
Tyler, I haven't even done anything yet. That looks like...
Whatever, boom. Works perfectly fine. I've got a hot corner set up there. So, what? 40 quid for the laptop, 60 for the screen, 10 for that, and then maybe a slightly extra if you don't have a spare NVMe hard drive lying around. But less than 100 quid, you have yourself a capable workstation. More than capable. Heck, got a keyboard and mouse. You don't even need these, right? You can just work off the laptop alone if you're really, really on a budget, right? So get yourself a cheap ThinkPad, people. Get out there, start looking, get Linux Mint installed on these older, lighter, and these less powerful machines, because I'm telling you, this is an absolute unit, rock solid. It's never chugged, it's never slowed down, as long as I didn't throw too much at it. Don't expect to be playing 4K gaming on this, yeah, let's not be stupid here. But for the basic necessities, this thing is an absolute beast, and it cost me less than 100 quid. Insane, right? There's value out there, people, right? All right, so next, if you have a bit more of a budget and you want something with a bit more power, you can still find something very decent. This is the Dell Latitude 7420. It's pretty capable. It's from 2021, running off USB-C. So I have a Thunderbolt dock here connected to my HDMI display, and that one Thunderbolt cable allows me to connect my laptop to the screen and also give it power, and also have accessories hooked up in there as well. Right, and this cost me what, 50 pounds on eBay. I found it used secondhand. This was about 150 quid. I didn't have to install anything else. It came with storage, came with whatever, and it's soldered RAM. You can't even upgrade the RAM on this. It's got a 16 gig. And it is running the very beautiful Casio OS with Niri. And as you can see there, 1080p display. It is running an i7 1185 G7 at 4.8 gigahertz. Intel Iris graphics, 16 gig of RAM, and it is pretty decent. And I'm telling you, it is very, very snappy. I've got it obviously connected with a keyboard and mouse. As you can see, my shortcuts are working perfectly fine, and it's very snappy as well. Of course, this is a more, shall we say, expensive setup, right? But it's still a lot cheaper than equivalent market, equivalent price laptops for the same performance, right? You're not getting anything with this performance for that price. Let's be honest, right? Yeah, there's more of a learning curve. Definitely, this is not. I wouldn't recommend beginners to start jumping into installing Casio OS and getting stuck in Arch Linux. No, there's a bit of a learning curve, but that whole setup. Oops. Oh my fucking gimbal. That whole setup there. It's not much, honestly. That is such a cheap setup, and it's actually my daily driver. I get a lot of my work done through this, and heck, I want to recommend it. Let's get into overview mode. Let's scroll. You can even do some light, and I mean light, very light gaming. I'll just boot up some Skyrim in the meantime. And I'm talking about 720p, barely getting 30 frames. I wouldn't recommend this for gaming, but it is possible, people. Stop getting scammed by big tech, right? Start learning how to use open source software. I'm telling you, everyone, you won't look back. Yeah? Stop getting scammed, stop getting robbed, stop getting thieved by greed and corporate greed and just capitalism on steroids. This is what the market has become. Hence why I'm making this video in the first place. And if you don't have the budget for all this, or you don't have the patience to start learning, there's no excuse, right? You can still get yourself an old ThinkPad, throw on a very, very, very basic Linux operating system that is also very stable, and you're good to go. Bob's your uncle. So that's the only thing I really, really want to do. Just kind of, oh look, Skyrim didn't even open this time. Amazing. Can you believe it's crashed? Anyway, not a great sales pitch, but I did say, listen, I'm not, this isn't a gaming video, right? And I can do more videos about gaming in the future at some point. This is just for people who seem to think that you have to spend a lot of money on getting up and running with technology. No, you don't. You do not. And the market means that you have to be more savvy and more smart about what you purchase, more than ever before, right? A very, very modern setup, running Thunderbolt, more than capable. Maybe not capable of gaming, right? But I never claimed it was. But for anything else, it's got word processing, document processing. You got obviously Excel equivalents in OpenOffice, open source software equivalents of everything you need. Absolutely beautiful setup for very, very cheap people. Yeah, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with learning about new technology and open source software. And I will do some more videos breaking down the differences and maybe helping people get a setup for the first time, right? But until then, catch you guys on the next one, and stop getting scammed, people. Peace. PS, guys, just to prove, because the proof is always in the pudding, just to prove to you that yes, Skyrim does run on this via Casio OS. It was just my runtime. I had to change it. I'm playing with one hand. I'm getting absolutely, yeah. This isn't a gaming video channel, but guys, it's possible. All right, stop getting scammed.